There is something taking place in this rally for ADA that normally doesn't happen in rallies. Don't typically see this in other assets throughout the crypto market. But what we're actually seeing is conviction right now actually on the rise in terms of ADA. This actually gives me a lot of excitement about where things can head towards. In fact, this just gave us the fourth largest day we have seen since March. That's really cool. We're going to talk about that in this video. I want to talk about something right now that is also trending for ADA that could bring a lot of retail excitement. And we need to talk about these two insane trend blowouts that right now are continuing to track history for ADA. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So we're still waiting to see how the day is going to progress. It's still pretty early on. It's about 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We see ADA just still kind of putzing around 97 cents. I'm hoping that we get a little bit of a push and rally and some excitement that can lead to some higher highs in terms of ADA. We'll have to watch and wait and see how this plays out. But something I wanted to show you guys is, we're obviously seeing a lot of volume. We're seeing some ups and downs. And so I'm sure that there are some people taking shorter term profit. But what is very interesting is we're still seeing this long-term holder, these long-term holders for ADA stay convicted. Even through this rally, this has in fact not changed. In fact, when we look at what ADA exchange supply is doing, even after our big day yesterday, we still saw the fourth largest day of supply removal we have seen since all the way back in March. All right, this is a pretty darn big deal because, again, this is limiting the amount of ADA that's available for when the masses start to flow in. In fact, yesterday alone was $18.97 million worth of ADA removed from exchanges. It's a pretty darn big deal and a pretty strong trend that we are seeing, guys. This has been the case for a very long period of time. Look at how much these exchange supply removal days outweigh the exchange supply inflows. So this leads me to believe that we're headed towards a pretty big supply shock at some point in time. Again, this is a great sign. ADA is moving a little bit easier as time progresses. We still have to cut through some significant levels. We still have to see the overall excitement in the market rise, obviously, but when this thing starts ripping, guys, and retail starts paying attention, that's where we can make some pretty wild moves here in terms of price. Now, something that I thought was very interesting here as well is ADA to $25 in 2025 is once again trending on X, which is obviously going to be right in the face of a lot of people that do look at that page, and maybe that creates a little bit of FOMO on this rally. Who knows? It's still pretty early on right now, but just maybe something to pay attention to there. Now, something I wanted to actually talk about in this article as well is actually this Sharpe ratio. And I thought this was interesting. The adjusted Sharpe ratio is a gauge of risk-adjusted return. It stands roughly at a 1, reflecting strong market performance compared to previous cycles. And historically, ADA has seen a sharp parabolic rallies when this ratio approaches a 2, making the current reading potentially supportive of further gains. So I thought that was really interesting. Right now, we're sitting right at about a 1. Could this mean that we have a lot of rally ahead? Yeah, probably. Obviously, there's no guarantees. This isn't financial advice or anything like that. But we're at this point where the cliff is well underway in terms of BTC dominance. You're seeing a lot of altcoins start to perform well versus BTC. Obviously, Ethereum is leading the way for the most part here. And what we're also seeing right now is two insane trend blowouts for ADA. And what this is both ADA dominance and BTC dominance. You guys can see that we have very much broken this longer term trend that had been building since all the way back here in March. We got rejected here in May, got rejected here in July, and now you guys can see this is a very distinct extension from this trend. Now, could this come down? Sure. But this fact that ADA right now is at 0.85% market dominance right now, while the rest of the market's just kind of blah, I think is a pretty big deal. ADA BTC chart also just came up to the longer term trend. That's a very big deal as well. Blew out of this trend where, again, we got rejected back here in May, back here in July. Hope you guys are sensing some pretty consistent themes. And now what it's looking like is when we zoom out and we look at these bigger, longer term trends, it looks like we're doing exactly this back here, right? This is right where ADA broke out a trend, was actually technically early 2021, but we fought this trend multiple times before this breakout and extension that led us on this massive rally versus BTC here. So basically, we are just continuing to track history. We're trending what we've done historically speaking, which, again, guys, I've said this so many times. We're following price historically. We're following these ADA dominance charts historically. We're following these ADA BTC charts historically speaking. And that's why I think it's funny because, you know, we've obviously seen some comments over the last week or so and basically throughout this year where people said, you know, ADA's dead, it's done, I'm capitulating, I'm moving on to something else. And people always tend to mess it up right before times get really exciting. And right now, guys, ADA's hinting at a lot of excitement. This is just the start of something much, much bigger. And again, it's not always a straight line up and to the right. You will get retracements. You will get red days along the way. But if you haven't noticed, ADA has changed very significantly from what it was back in 2024. A lot louder narrative. The conviction is much higher than it was. And right now it's leading to some pretty darn good price performance, guys. So that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you as always. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. Are these trends going to continue? Are we going to see ADA continue to outperform the market here? But have a great day. Show your love below. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.